Today, I am going to talk about something that is extremely important. So if you have a notebook handy or your phone, open that notes app because this is going to be a video that can totally change how 2024 will go for you. Hi everyone, my name is Yorros, and in this channel we talk about all sorts of things about faith for young women and my story of how my husband overcame multi-organ failure as a result of the pandemic. And then now I am really documenting my journey of starting my own gold-filled jewelry business, Delicate by Carla, which I started in July of 2023, and it has been my way of sharing my story as a caregiver. So welcome to the family. If this is the first time that you are watching one of my videos, I'm actually filming this on the 31st of December of 2023. So you know this has got to go out yesterday. Like, this video is important, and I got inspired to do this video because I literally just got home from church like an hour ago, and my pastor literally threw down. It was such a God thing because I sang at church today. Like, I was scheduled to be one of the singers today at church, but he came up to me right before the service started, and he was like, "Can you translate for me for the sermon?" So in our church, what we do is, like, the pastor is like preaching real time, and someone will stand right next to him translating in real time into the microphone. That's how we do it. And so I guess the usual person that does it was not available, so he just randomly asked me to do it. And I'm like, sure, I've been doing that, for many years. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. I was nervous, but I was like, sure, I'll do it. And so he airdropped me his sermon. And when I opened that thing and start reading, I was like, this is for me. Like, this sermon is so specific that it was like a God thing. And I was like, and also my feelings are like a little hurt God, like, shoot, but like, it was such a specific sermon. Like, God was like, this is for you, boo boo, you're going to translate it. So it was such a God thing that I'm like, as soon as I got home, I like turned on my camera, set up all the equipment, and was like, we are going to talk about this. So here are 3 things that you need to leave behind in 2023 to have a successful, blessed, focused, fruitful 2024. So these are things that we're leaving behind to have a beautiful, blessed, successful 2024. So the first one is going to be insecurity, pain, and rejection. I grouped all 3 of these together because they tend to work hand in hand. See, a lot of our insecurities come from places where we have felt the pain of rejection. Let me say that one more time. A lot of our insecurities come from places we have experienced rejection. A lot of times we even perceive things that are rejections because we're in this unstoppable, sometimes feeling kind of loop of insecurity. Sometimes we are so focused and we're so insecure about a certain area that we constantly feel rejected in that area, even when we're truly not being rejected. For example, maybe you go to church, someone doesn't say hi to you, someone that maybe usually does, and then it kind of confirms this bias that we all have in our heads. It's like an innate insecurity of rejection. See, they don't like me. See, I'm not worthy. See, I'm not good enough. And it's just this bias, this fear that we all have of being rejected. And the enemy, oh my goodness, he loves to use that to stop us from walking in the purpose that God has for us, to stop us from walking in joy, to stop us from walking happy and like full of excitement for what's ahead. And that so easily steals our joy and excitement of the future. So this year, if you have been rejected, because truly maybe you have been rejected in an area of your life, maybe by a spouse, a parent, a situation, a friendship, whatever it can be, you maybe have been rejected. But God has something better for you. And so we're leaving behind the pain of rejection, and we're going to start walking in healing. When we are not healed, listen, hurt people hurt people. I have a friend that says that all of the time. I love her so much. She literally always is like, well, Carla, hurt people hurt people. And that is such a big reality. So this year, we're walking whole and healed and full of integrity. And when the thing is, when you're hurting, you're broken. And so you don't walk in that integrity and that wholeness. And God wants you to walk in wholeness, feeling safe, comforted, healed. It actually says in Isaiah chapter 1, verse 4 and 6, "Now the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Listen, if you've ever felt rejected, God knows you. He doesn't just see you. He actually knows you. He's not an acquaintance to you. He is the one who made you. He is your father. There's a relationship there. There is the type of knowing there that nobody else has. In verse 5, it says, Jeremiah, I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Before you are ever born, God already knows who you're going to be, what you will accomplish, what you will do with your life. He already has a purpose for your life. So if you've ever felt the sting of rejection, just know there is someone who knows your true value and purpose. And he doesn't just know about you, he knows you. Whew, the second one, y'all. The second one, anger at ourselves. In 2023, we're gonna leave behind the anger we have been feeling towards ourselves. And in 2024, we're gonna walk whole, we're gonna walk confident, and we're gonna walk forgiving not just those who've hurt us and leaving that rejection behind, but we're also gonna walk knowing that we have been forgiven, we are loved, and also we have to accept ourselves. Now, why did I title this one Anger at Ourselves? So in 2023, I walked through a really, really difficult situation. So in 2021, my husband became ill with COVID and went into multi-organ failure. And suddenly, after just a year and a half of marriage, I found myself being the caregiver of a young 24-year-old husband. I was 26 at the time and felt completely unequipped and ill-prepared for what I was about to face. My husband couldn't walk, couldn't eat, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything on his own, and now I was his full-time caregiver. Man, that will make you do some introspection. We used to live this very kind of busy lifestyle, like constantly at church, constantly at events, constantly traveling, like working full time. We were just so busy. And then all of a sudden, I found myself stuck at home, and so was my husband, and we had to face this situation. Our lives came to an absolute halt. I quit my job for 7 months to take care of my husband, and it was scary, like for the both of us. We remember staring at each other and going, what have our lives become? Like, it was a really tough situation that we both walked through together. And one of the things that I really had to face in that season was I could no longer run away from the problems and situations that I had swept under the rug. Anxieties, insecurities, all sorts of things that I was carrying inside of me that I didn't want to deal with, and I used my busyness as an excuse not to deal with it. Whoo, that's for somebody right there. I was using busyness, I was using ministry, I was using, I'm so busy with work, I'm so busy being a newlywed, I'm so busy with so many things. And there was like pain, and there was things from my past and things in my life that God had to deal with. And being stuck at home, living through the worst crisis of my life, pushed me to have to mature some areas of my life that I refused to let God touch. I no longer could hide behind so many engagements. Now I literally didn't have a choice. I had to deal with the things I didn't want to deal with. And as I'm stuck at home and not being able to do even the things that I was passionate about, like singing at church and things like that, I actually all of a sudden became very angry, not just at my circumstance, but like at myself. And I started treating myself more mean. Like, you know, guys know what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes we say things to ourselves and this internal dialogue that we have going on, but like we wouldn't say to a friend. Like, you would not say that to a friend. You would never dare say that to a friend, but we say it to ourselves. And so I became very, very, very angry at myself. And it's almost like I didn't accept myself. I rejected who I was. I hated the way I talked. I hated the way I looked. And I was like, where is this coming from? And I actually did some research. And according to Freud, depression is actually anger turned inwards. Now, this is a theory that he had, but truly I experienced it. Like, I was so angry at myself. Sometimes we become angry at ourselves, and it's like we're going through a depression. And so the enemy loves to use that to get us insecure, bitter, and angry. But there are moments that we have to actually say, hey, I made that mistake, or hey, I made a fool of myself in that situation. But you know what? I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna be okay that immature Carla, that immature young Carla made that mistake. forgive myself because God has already forgiven me. In fact, it says in the Bible that he takes our sins and throws them to the bottom, the depth of the ocean, and he forgets about them. They don't matter anymore. So we need to do that with ourselves as well sometimes. I made a mistake. I made a fool of myself. That's okay. Like, throw it away, leave it behind in 2023. We're not bringing that into 2024. We're going to walk not only in the forgiveness he's given us, but we're going to forgive ourselves, and we're going to stop being angry at mistakes that we've made. That only holds you back. It doesn't let you move forward. All right, y'all, ready for the last one? The fear of man. Now, this is one that we all in some way, shape, or form struggle with. The fear of man is basically being afraid of what other people are going to say about us. I used to be obsessed with what people would think about me. I was so obsessed with getting things right, with this perfectionist mentality, because I had to impress, because I had to be the best at this or that. We're not bringing that into 2024. The thing is, the fear of man makes us sometimes disobey the voice of God. The fear of man says what people think about me is more important than what God thinks about me. And we start making decisions, taking steps, we start to take action to do things in accordance with what people think we should do instead of what God has said we are to do. Maybe God has called you into a ministry. Maybe God is saying you're supposed to go and be a missionary in this country. Maybe God is saying you are supposed to go to school and get this career. Maybe God has placed in your heart a desire for a business. And listen, God is no dictator. Like if you absolutely hate drawing, he's not gonna be like, you're gonna draw. No, like there are passions and there are like desires to do these projects, to do these things. Maybe you are an artist, or maybe you are an entrepreneur. Maybe you're a professional lawyer. You want to go into law school. You want to go into nursing school. There are things that God will place in your heart to do. And sometimes we're so afraid to be judged by others. We're so afraid to take on these new ventures because who am I, right? Those people are going to think I'm a joke. They're going to make fun of me for this. Like Noah was told by God to build an ark when it hadn't rained. They were living in a drought that lasted years. God said, build an ark because I'm gonna flood this place. And God brought the flood, and Noah was ready. Noah listened to what God said, even though he was mocked the entire time for it. It took him years to build the ark, and for years he was mocked. And here we go. Now there's a great flood and people are begging Noah to open the ark, but it was too late. God sealed the ark and no one could get in. And so there are moments when people just cannot see what God is doing. There are moments that people just can't understand that God has spoken for you. Obviously, we must seek counsel and make sure that we're moving in the right direction. But there are some people that they're not there to give you counsel. Instead, they want to put their fears inside of you so you don't move and do what God has asked you to do. But no, we're not taking fear with us into 2024. In 2024, we're going to walk in fullness and obedience to the Holy Spirit, even if it makes us a mockery and it makes a fool out of us in the eyes of man. Because if God called you to do it, He called you to do it. Like, even if you're looking at the finances, you're looking at inflation, you're looking at all of these things that are happening in the world, and God is saying, oh, go start a business. Yeah, He will multiply it. He will do it. He will bring the investors. He will bring the customers. He will bring the people who will partner with you. But He will do it. We're not doing things on our own strength this year. We're going to do it with the help of God. So y'all, these are 3 things that we are leaving behind in 2023 because we're moving into a blessed 2024. This year, God spoke to me and God speaks to us many ways. He speaks to me like I get like this impression in my heart where I'm reading the Bible and something just stands out to me and I'm like, oh, I know God is saying this to me. And God just spoke to me about walking in blessing and in joy. I don't think I'm the only one who's had a crappy 3 years. I know for a fact that there are people that have gone through some really really sucky couple of years. And God is telling you 2024 is a year of gladness, a year of joy, a year of change. I'm telling you, my pastor preached a sermon today that I was so in line with it. Like I knew, like that's literally what my pastor spoke about. 2024 is going to be a year of joy. And so I hope that this encourages you. I don't know what you've been through the last couple of years, but those things are not meant to define the years to come. Those things are not meant to define you. God defines you, and he says you are blessed. He says you will be fruitful. He says that you're going to have joy come into your life. It's time for us to walk in the security and knowledge that he who provides and that he who spoke is faithful. Well, I will see you guys on my next video. I post a new video every single week on Thursdays. I said that very questioningly, but sometimes that happens, y'all. Like, I don't know. I tried, but anyways, literally like my computer got fried and I wasn't able to post over the whole holiday season. And I'm convinced that God was like, you need to sit down and rest for a little bit, child. But anyways, guys, I post a video every Thursday and I will see you in the next one. Have a blessed new year. I just wish you the best for you and your family. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.